Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at Okidogi with Barbaracle. This is one of the many Okidogi versions that you can obviously play in TCG, even though the Poison one's kind of dead, but, well, if you play Poison packages, you already know this. And this is the newest version on the block, and it's been doing actually alright in, online's, matches and stuff. Obviously, it does fall short in a couple of areas, but it's still very acceptable for what it is as a single prize archetype. So as per usual, in the description below there's going to be usual links, double the deck list, which is also available to copy the description below. There's the games that I'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck. So of course today we're going to be playing the new version of Okidogi, but of course Okidogi's been around since Twilight Masquerade, and he's a pretty good attacker. With his ability Adrenal Power, if this Pokemon has any Dark Energy attached, it gets plus 100 HP, and the attacks it uses do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. Obviously what that means is Okidogi's HP goes up to 230, and its attack goes up to 170 damage. Obviously with the likes of Brave Bangle, we can get that up to 200, so we are effectively two-shotting anything in the format, which is actually a pretty good thing. Obviously, we do have other tech attackers in here as well, like Moltres, although we obviously don't use basic fighting energy for this. We do use our special energy, but we do play one copy of Fire Energy just so we can have easier access to the Moltres without having to commit a special energy, which ideally goes on Okidogi. But obviously, Moltres is really good right now because obviously with all the Teal Master running around, so this is a really good tech attacker that we can play, and it's only a single energy attachment. Obviously, we are playing the new Barbaracle from Perfect Order. We did obviously I obviously did cover the Zygarde with this build, or this Barbaracle, and it's actually not too bad. Like, Barbaracle really did feel quite good to play. But obviously, Barbaracle, it is technically slower than, the Crispin version, but obviously with the Crispins, obviously you're committing your support for turn. We obviously lost Scizor, so that's something quite key. We did lose Scizor, which was really good for the deck, as it was a single prize attacker. That hit for, well, it now would be insane in terms of its, versatility. Because obviously, Mega Diancie, Mega Frostlass, and obviously, there's still quite a few abilities running around, so Scizor could obviously do that, but, well, he's rotated now, so sadly we don't have that option. I did throw in one copy of Cornerstone. This is more for, just general purpose matchups, and in some cases, this will actually win us matchups if they don't have an answer to Cornerstone. But obviously a lot of the Megas do have, no abilities, so we need to be careful. And most importantly, we only need to use Cornerstone if we have to. We don't always have to bench this guy. Otherwise, we are playing the 8 Nullifier Genesect. This gives us an easier time into quite a few matchups, because we're not going to get unfair stamped if this thing has a tool attached. And technically, you could attack with Magnetic Blast, but it's not going to matter. And obviously for a draw engine, we are playing the Solrock Lunatone engine, which of course is a very effective engine, as we already know. Other than that, it's a pretty standard Okidogi with Barbaracle. So, let's get to the deck list, and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This has been a quite fun little list to actually test. Obviously, I don't think this is going to be a meta deck, but you know what? For a single prize archetype, it's actually not too bad. There's not a lot to it. All we do is just go Prism or Legacy, and then, we attack with Good Punch. There's not really much to it, I'll be brutally honest. Obviously, we do have tech attackers. Like I said, we do have the Solrock, which can also attack in this list. We have the Moltres, and we have the Cornerstone. But a lot of the time, we are just going to be using Okidogi and just punching them in the face and hoping for the best. One thing you will notice is there is no Premium Power Pros in this list. We are not using Premium Power Pro. They are too space heavy on this deck. So that's the main idea here. Obviously, we don't play a way to search the Cornerstone, but I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue because we're probably not even going to use it in this video. But, he's there as obviously, as an option, but, we don't have to search out the Cornerstone, so I didn't bother. Well, we don't normally have to search out the Cornerstone is what I mean. So I didn't bother putting one in. Obviously, we do have Fighting Gong, which can grab the Cornerstone. But otherwise, we really want to be using those Fighting Gongs for obviously grabbing our engine Pokemon. And obviously, Okidogis as well. So of course, we're playing 4 Okidogis, 2 Binacles, 2 Barbaracles, 2 Lunatones, 2 Solrocks, 2 Moltres, 1 Genesect, and 1 Cornerstone. Then of course, 4 Lillies, 4 Boss, 4 Tarragon, well, 2 Tarragon, I mean. This is a really good support, and obviously bosses as well, that's why I play the 4 count. 1 Judge, 1 Corrus of Tenacity, which helps us grab our Stadium, which we'll talk about in a moment, and obviously a Special Energy. Then, of course, 4 Fighting Gong, 4 Poké Pad, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Pokégears, 2 Air Balloons, 2 Brave Bangles, 2 Team Rocket's Watchtower. This is actually pretty busted at the minute, because this does shut down Meowth, and obviously if they, for whatever reason, bench a Meowth and think they can use it, we can just boss it for 2 prizes, because, well, we hit it for weakness anyway, but, you know, it's the fact that Watchtower is just such a good stadium right now. It's really worth playing it. Obviously, we don't play any colourless Pokemon, so it's well worth playing. Then, of course, 8 Fighting, 4 Prism, 1 Legacy as our A-Spec, and, of course, the 1 Fire Energy. This has been quite fun. I don't think this deck's going to be top dog anytime soon, which is ironic because, obviously, Okidogi is based off of a dog, I believe. But for now, I think this is just more of a fun deck, and it's another way to play Okidogi. Obviously, Okidogi, like I said, the original box variant that I did has obviously lost Scissor, obviously lost, you know, EXP Share, Bravery Charm, which does affect the list, so we do need to be careful in that regard. But thanks to the Barbaracle, most of that is already fixed, so that's at least something. Maybe we could try a hybrid version in the future, so a 2-2 Barbaracle line, obviously 4 Okidogis, the Moltres, you know, something like that, and then obviously we can, you know, add in tech attackers like Clefairy. Obviously Barbaracle can't accelerate to Clefairy, but we can still play Crispins. So, I don't know, I might look into that in the future. So, let's get into some matches and see how we do. And welcome to our first game. We're paired up against someone in, excuse me, Eternatus rank. Oh, so I was just having a little bit of a yawn. I've been up for a few hours. I had a job interview today. When, well, obviously as this video will be out 2 weeks after said job interview. So, probably make an official post if I get the job, because obviously it will affect the channel per se. Do I want to go first? Not really. I don't really need to go first. But yeah, it might affect the channel, obviously, if I do get this job, but that's why I'm kind of keeping it on the down low. I'm not going to be, like, stressing over it or anything like that. I'll take a Solrock start. That's pretty good. Judge, Boss, 3 Fighting. I smell Lucario. So this is where the Okidogi box variant would obviously have an easier time, because I play Clefairy in that. And then obviously it means your Monkeydoras can hit... Your Monkeydoras can actually hit dragons for weaknesses, which is hilarious. So you do like 120 damage plus confusing them. But yeah, maybe like a hybrid approach could be something we try for Okidogi in the future. But let's see what we're up against once we take our mulligan. There's an Okidogi, we will take that. And yep, it's Lucario. Okay, that's fine. We can 2-shot a Lucario, so it's not a major deal. And they're just going to attach. Obviously, we don't play a way to buff our damage, so we can't actually take the knockout on this Riolu. But it's not a major deal. It's completely fine. But, you know, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd have started Moltres neither, because Moltres isn't exactly relevant here either. But, you know, this is the only thing about not playing Power Pros, is we can't do stuff like that. So, Cornerstone's not useful in this matchup, so we're just going to go for the Pokégear. We get nothing, unfortunately. I'll just bench an Okidogi. Grab a Poké Pad, because I can grab Lunatone, and then I can Chorus for a Fighting, and obviously a Watchtower. Not you, I need you. Because then what that means is I can obviously, you know, put the Stadium into play, get some draw with the Lunar Cycle. Can we get another Okidogi? We don't get what we need. But I can get a Prism on the Okidogi. I could attack here, but I don't think it's worth it. Because we don't play a way to buff our damage. There's no real point in us swinging with Cosmic Beam here. And even then, I wouldn't want to put a Prism on the Solrock. So that's just something to bear in mind. So they're going to grab a Lunatone of their own. They need to get a Lucario established or a second Riolu established. Let's see what they can do. There's Lunar Cycle. I mean, to be fair, if they do whiff, we could have obviously, you know, double attacked, but it's not a major deal. Like I say, we're a single prize archetype that plays Legacy Energy. We are not going to put this in play. So I'm not particularly worried. Something tells me they do not have a Lucario. Like, you wouldn't double attach here. In most situations, anyway. But yeah, this should be okay for this matchup. Obviously, we need to be recycling Okidogis, but we could do that. Like I said, we're a single prize archetype. There's Judge. Let's see what we get after Judge. That's not bad. I'll take that. We get a Fighting to discard. We get a Poké Pad to set up a Binacle. So I'll take that. And they're just going to stab. Okay, that's fine. I'm completely happy with that. There's a Bangle. We're going to put that on the Okidogi. So let's go for, first of all, Poké Pad. Get ourselves a Binacle. We'll bench that. We'll then Fighting Gong for the Fighting Energy. Lunacycle for some draw. There's another Okidogi. We can bench that. I will Air Balloon the Binacle because we do kind of need to do that. I'm going to attach to Solrock. I think it's fine, and then we're just going to Judge. We only play one copy of Judge though, so that's something to bear in mind. And yeah, we're just going to Cosmic Beam for 70. The math here isn't too relevant because, you know, the 70 ping is what I mean. We're not really doing irrelevant damage. Obviously, if we had the, you know, the box version of Okidogi, we could obviously Monkey Dory onto Rio and then take it out with Solrock, but yeah, I'm not particularly worried right now because obviously we are going to be able to set up our Barbaracle, which is good. It just means obviously we're taking the prize card, well, we're losing a prize card, but again, we're a single prize archetype. I'm not too worried. But I think they've whiffed once again on the Lucario. They must have prized like most of the Lucarios. Obviously, the Watchtower is not relevant here, but you know it's still something. But yeah, they're not really doing a lot, so I think they've whiffed. Because you know they've attached here, which indicates to me like they are struggling to find, you know, Lucario. They've already been to fighting, so if they do find Lucario, they have a pretty good setup. But I think they've whiffed, and I think they've rage quit because of it. But even then, like, you know, you are a 3-prize archetype, but you have single prizes which can deal with Okidogi. And yeah, he's just going to pass. Alright, well, let's set up our Barbaracle engine then. So we'll Lunacycle first to get some draw in. There's a Prism Energy, which we're going to do that in a moment. I'm going to Stone Arms to the Okidogi. I'm going to attach to the other Okidogi. And, well, do I value keeping my Solrock alive? Yeah, I'll put Okidogi up front. And yeah, we're just going to punch this in the face for 170 and take the knockout on this Riolu. I don't know what my opponent was doing, but they've definitely whiffed on their Lucario. Let's see how quick they promote, because that'll tell us if they're still here. If they're not, then, well, yeah, they probably rage quit, and I think they have. So, yeah, I'll see you on game 2, it seems. And welcome back to game 2. My opponent did completely rage quit, and, well, I was just sat there twiddling my thumbs. Like I say, Okidogi at least got to punch that Riolu in the face, but, well, even if they whiffed the Lucario when they did, they still could have had a chance, you know, like, you know, they could have obviously, you know, powered up their single prizes like their Harayamas, their Solrocks, because obviously my Solrock doesn't have damage mods, apart from Brave Bangle. And, you know, it just feels to me like my opponent just didn't think and thought, oh, he's going to two-shot me, this, that, and the other. Well, if you're that worried about Okidogi, why are you not playing something like, you know, what's its face? Can't remember the card now. Ooh, we're facing Doublade. Ooh, this is spicy. This is going to be fun. I need to play that archetype on the channel at some point. We're going first. No, but that's fine, because like I said, we play Legacy Energy. They probably don't. So we'll take the Molly. That's a boss. That's good in case they play 2 prizes, which is unlikely, but still. There's a Honedge. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah, there's their Genesect. So we can obviously go for the Genesect if we need to. Obviously, we can't one-shot them, but we can use Moltres to one-shot the Genesect. So we actually have a pretty good time in this matchup. Obviously, you know, starting a Binacle is not the best idea. Oh, they're playing the Smoochum variant. Okay, interesting. Well, let's hope they're ready for some fire, because we're going to be breaking out the Moltres in this match. Metallic Signal early, which makes sense. Obviously, Watchtower's not very good in this matchup, but it's fine. Can they get this Honedge at the active and get the Smoochum online? No, they can't. That's good. And there's Barbaracle off the top. So let's go for a Fighting Gong. I think I play it safe and go Fighting Gong for Solrock, Poké Pad for Lunatone, and then go from there and start getting some draw in. So we've not prized any Okidogis. We have prized our Lunatone though, but that I can live with. And we're going to Fighting in the prizes. Both Moltres are in there. Excellent. We're going to need those in this matchup. The basic fire and the 2 other prisms are in there, as is Legacy. So yeah, I'll grab a Lunatone off of this. I can then Tenacity for Watchtower and a Fighting. So we can do that. We can then Lunacycle the Fighting. Okay, that's not bad at all. Do I put down what power? It doesn't really matter. I mean, I could potentially hammer in, take out a Smoochum or a Honedge, so I actually think it's worth me attaching a Prism to the Binacle and double drawing, because then I get more draw. I'm just going to do that just in case. And yeah, I'm going to double draw. I think it's fine to do that. It is putting a Prism on our Binacle, which, you know, it's going to become a Barbaracle, which could be a problem. But, you know, even though it's not the best attack, it can still do something. They're not really doing anything unless they have Crispin or Ignition, so they are getting the first attack off, but that's fine. As long as we can keep up the pressure, we're not too worried. But obviously we are going to need to boss this Smoochum to take a prize with Solrock, and then obviously we need to find, you know... But then again, bossing's quite rough, because obviously we do need... but then again, we might be okay, actually, because, like I say, they aren't really getting any energy on board with Ignition. They're just attaching and then, you know... I'm not too worried here. There's Petrol, so this could give away their A-Spec. Let's see what they're doing. Are they playing Trolley, perhaps? I don't think that's what I would go with if I was playing this deck. What's my build playing? I think mine's playing Max Rod, I think. Yeah, they're playing Trolley. Okay. That's fine. Like I say, we can't use Cornerstone in this matchup, but I'm not particularly worried about that. But I really wish I had damage mods in this match, because Solrock would be farming these Doublades, but we just don't have the damage mods, unfortunately. I wonder if they have Latias, because Latias would be another 2 prize we can go for. They do have Latias. Okay, that's good. That's another 2 prize we can go for later. Obviously, we're going to need to double hit it. That's fine. We can take out the Genesect with the Moltres, so I'm not worried. But yeah, they're just going to weaponize swords, take out our Binacle, and put us in an interesting position. Interestingly, though, they are benching multiple Honedge, but to be fair, in this matchup, it's not too relevant as long as they will keep 4. And yeah, they're just going to reveal 2 Aegislash, take out the Binacle, which is our energy acceleration, unfortunately. But we can live with that. We can get that back. It's not a big deal. Losing the Prism, though, could be costly. But we will soon find out. There's a Tarragon. Ooh, do I play the Tarragon? But I need to, you know, I need to do something here. I can't just sit twiddling my thumbs. Let me Lunacycle first. Okay, that really doesn't help my position. So let's go for a Night Stretcher. I'll grab back the Binacle, because we're going to need that. I could, like I said, I can attach the Fighting. I can take out the Smoochum. And then I can always, you know, promote... Then again, no, that feels kind of rough. Do I just hit this? Is my theory. Do I just hit this and just, you know... I could judge them as well. I'm going to judge. I think it's fine to judge. I don't need to boss this turn. I'd rather, you know, get something set up. I can bench a Genesect, not like it matters because I've already used their A-Spec, but this could be another potential attacker because it does do 100 damage. And yeah, I'm just going to Cosmic Beam, hit this for 70. You know, I've got to think of all my different attackers like in this matchup because obviously we are a bit slower than the standard, you know, Okidogi list, so that's something that we need to consider. Genesect is a potential attacker because it does 100 damage. That's something that we need to consider. It's costly, because it does take a Prism Energy to do it. or, you know, Legacy to do it, but we could attack with it, which is my thought process here. So let's hope they don't find another Ignition. They could free retreat into Smoochum, but if they do that, this is only 2 basic energy, so I could potentially gust the Doublade that gets, you know, the energy. But they aren't really doing a lot, which is good. I could even boss this now. But yeah, this is really weird, this matchup. Like, I've not... If I was playing Okidogi box, I wouldn't be worried, because obviously I've got the Prism Energy acceleration. But it's the fact that we started the Binacle and they took it out so quickly, which is my concern. But it seems they've whiffed, which is good. They're going to attach to the Honedge, which is fine. They're playing the Metal Energy, because obviously we need to be worried about Aegislash. I might just boss this and take it out, but then again, if I do that, this comes into play. I'm just thinking what I do here. Because if they evolve this into a Doublade, I'm not particularly worried. But I'm going to take this out because it's the only form of energy right now. So I'm just going to Cosmic Beam and take out the Honedge. I think this is fine. I'm not attaching Legacy, there's no reason to. But yeah, that Judge actually hurt us more than it did him, so... They can obviously promote Smoochum now, but then I can take a prize card on this Smoochum. So, you know, we are starting to piece together something, but we've not seen a single Okidogi, which is the main issue. But I'm kind of hoping that, because we're going to be on a 2-prize lead, and also we have Legacy Energy, we should be fine in this matchup. But like I say, I'm only benching the Genesect because it could attack. That's literally why I've benched it. I've not benched it because, you know, they've already used the race spec. I'm not bothered about that. It's another potential attacker that can deal with a Doublade. So if I, you know, if push comes to shove, I can start manually attaching to this. So it's not a big deal. Obviously, their Delightful Kiss will probably charge up 2, you know, of their Pokemon here. They're going to go into the Doublade. Do they have an Ignition? They do. That's fine. Because it means I can promote the Genesect with the Air Balloon, free retreat into a Solrock with a Legacy Energy, and then what they're going to do. I'm fine with this. I'm completely fine with this. Because like I say, I'm going to take a prize card here, and then they have to Gust. So again, I'm not particularly worried. And Weaponized Swords. We need a good top deck, though. That's the only thing I'm worried about, is my top deck. I need something off the top. Because we can't afford to keep losing Solrocks. It's our draw engine. And 3 Aegislash. I don't know why they're revealing 3. They only need to reveal 2, but sure. They take the knockout on the Solrock. That's completely fine. Because like I say, I can bring up this Genesect. So let's see what we can do. Okay, Poké Pad is good. We can Fin... Do I want to Fin a Moltres? Because I could threaten them with it. Yeah, I'll Fin the Moltres. I can at least threaten them with it. So now I'll put down the Solrock, go into the Solrock, Legacy the Solrock, and Cosmic Beam for 70. Obviously we only have a 1-card hand, but, you know, we are trading single prize for single prize, and there's a Lilies off the prizes. Excellent, that's what we need. But yeah, this is quite messy, I will say. But I'm hoping that the Legacy Energy does turn the tide for us. So, fingers crossed. I'm kind of hoping that our Legacy Energy will turn the tide. There's an energy attachment. So that's good. Like I said, I think because of the Legacy Energy, we are going to win this matchup, but it's not guaranteed, because they could park something in front of us that we can't deal with. But because we've been focusing down the hot edges as well, I think we're fine, because we're forcing them to bench more Pokemon. And obviously Smoochum, whilst it does accelerate energy, they can't really do a lot about us, which is good. Because like I say, now I can Lilies for turn. We have got 4 in the discard pile though, 3 of which are fighting, so I'm not too worried. And like I say, our prize map involves this Genesect, so again, I'm not too worried. We're threatening Moltres on them, which is a good thing, you know? So let's see what they're ultra ball for. They're going to grab a Fez, that's another 2-prizer, which is fighting weak, so that's relevant here. He's another Honedge, because if I Gust this, and I have a damage mod, which obviously I don't, but he doesn't know that. If I Gust this, he's in trouble. And nope, he's just going to go for the Delightful Kiss. That's completely fine. But yeah, I'm going to cover this version of the deck, but not with the Smoocher. I played a Joltik version. They're powering up Latias. Okay, so they're threatening us with Latias. That is fine. So, let's go for the Lilies. There's an Okidogi, and there's a Poké Pad. So we'll grab the Barbaracle. We'll do that. We can then Stone Arms to the Okidogi. Do I want to attach this fire? I'm going to wait. I'm going to Cosmic Beam. I'm going to take out the Smoochum, because I need to take out the Smoochum anyway, but it's interesting that they've gone for the Latias, which, fair enough, you know, it does make sense, but like I said, even with, you know, the damage reduction from obviously minus 30, I still two-shot a Latias with, you know, the energies that we've got, and the Prism energies and stuff. What I'm hoping for is we can get a boss, and we can obviously, you know, deal with the Genesect with boss, and then all we need to do is go for a Doublade for a game. Hassle, that's fine. The only hassle is, of course, we're waiting on a boss. But it's fine. I'm not too worried. Like I said, this matchup is just down to, you know, Moltres carrying the weight of obviously, you know, going for Genesects and stuff. I'm not particularly worried. We'll just need another boss to take out that Fez or the Doublade if it comes to it. But obviously, they're not going to take prize cards now, because obviously that was their support for turn. They're not going to take a prize card. So, again, we are just so far ahead, it's not even funny, you know? We get value off of Tarragon if we decide to go the Tarragon route, because we can do that. It's crazy that we're actually holding up, even with a slower build. This is a slower build compared to, you know, a standard Okidogi, but I'm happy for that. I'm going to grab another Aegis Slash. But again, you're not taking prize cards. That's the key thing here. You are not taking a prize card, which, again, that disrupts your prize map quite significantly. And then after that, all you have is Latias. So again, they're going to reveal 3, even though they only need to reveal 2. They don't take a prize card, thanks to Legacy Energy. And we will promote the Genesect. Alright, there's another Okidogi. So what I'm going to do is... I don't know why I clicked on the Lunatone, I'm not using it. Let's go for the Pokégear. We get a Lilies. Is that fine? I mean, I can Stone Arms to one of the Okidogis. So how many energies do I have left? I have 2 Prism, well, 3 Prism remaining. There is a chance I hit it. I'm going to go for it. And yep, we got the Prism, plus the boss for next turn. Excellent. So now we do that. We then retreat into the Okidogi. And we will Good Punch for 170. Take out the Doublade. And now all we need to do is find the Fire Energy or another, you know, Prism Energy. And we can win with boss with the Moltres. Or we can do it with Okidogi. It doesn't really matter. We just need to win. Well, you know, we just need to win with boss, which I'm happy to do so. I can even Tarragon, and I can 2-hit this. I'm not worried about a Latias. Because, like I said, we play quad boss, and we played 1, so not worried in the slightest. So let's see what they do. Like I said, I'm probably just going to play Tarragon for turn, because then I can hit this. There's Petrol. So that's their support for turn, no boss, which is good. We just need to make most use of our, you know, Barbaracle, because we will need to set up multiple attackers. There's Sacred Ash, that's fine. In fact, hold on. No, we don't win. I was thinking Bangle, manually attach Fighting, and then Gust this, but we're 10 short, so there's no point. There's Poké Pad. We need a Fire Energy or the Prism in order to win here. I'm going to grab a Honedge. I mean, I can always just Gust the Honedge, stop them from attacking, and only let them use Latias. But then I'd need to find another boss, so I think I'm just going to play it safe. They're going to flip the script, that's fine. I could also find my Cornerstone, but I don't think I'm going to use Cornerstone. I don't really need to. But obviously, because of Eon Blade doing Psychic Weakness to my Okidogi, Okidogi doesn't stand a hope in hell. But that's fine. So we'll bring up the Genesect and we'll see what we top deck. Because if we don't top deck anything spectacular, I'm just going to boss this. Because that means if they put down another single prize up, we just boss that for game. It's not a big deal. Okay, Air Balloon. Yeah, I think I'm gonna Tarragon for turn. I'm not worried in the slightest. So we'll grab back double rock and double fighting. So we'll do that. We'll then Lunacycle. Okay, that's pretty good. Do I Bangle the Solrock? That does... In fact, it doesn't make a difference damage-wise, but then we just need to boss and find another thingamabob, so that's fine. I'm going to Stone Arms to the Solrock. I'm going to Air Balloon the Barbaracle. And then I'll just free retreat into the Solrock and Cosmic Beam for 100. Now I'm forcing them to answer Okidogi or Moltres, because Moltres is now in KO range. Obviously, they are resorting to slow, like, if you notice on the time difference, they are slow playing quite a bit, but that's standard. Honestly, I think we've got this under wraps. You know, they can bring up the single prize Doublade, but again, all I do is just boss Latias for game. I'm not really worried. But yeah, not a bad little result so far. We've done alright, but I must admit, I'm getting old age from this match because of how long this guy takes with some of his turns. But still, we are in a good position. You know, we're not in a bad position. There's Solrock. Well, not Solrock, there's Honedge, I mean. Like I said, they can't even attack with Latias, so they have to retreat this guy. They're gonna boss. Bring up my Okidogi, but you can't attack this turn. You attacked last turn. Have you read Eon Blade? Because if you don't do anything, I will just, you know, I will just dig, and I will hopefully find my Prism Energy to destroy this. I don't think they've read the card myself. They're going to choose a new active Pokemon, so they're hoping to stall me now. They're going to go into the Doublade. Do they have a do they have an ignition? They do, that's fine. But again, you know, I'm not worried in the slightest because we're a single prize archetype. We've already delayed them with the, you know, with the attacks that we've done. So I'm pretty happy with this. We just need a Fire Energy or a Prism Energy to win. And there's the reveal. Again, they keep revealing too many because, you know, it's important to, like, not give your opponent an idea of how many you have in hand. But anyway. So I'll promote the Barbaracle. There goes the ignition. And draw for turn. There's Lunatone, that's fine. Lunacycle. And there's the Prism Energy. So now we can go into the Moltres. Free retreat. Into the Moltres. And just to rub his nose in it, I'm going to boss the Genesect. And Fighting Wings for 220. And take game. Not only do you get that for slow playing, but, you know, you just took too long with your actions in general. There was no reason for you to do that. But honestly, I think that went pretty well. You know, Legacy Energy pulled its weight. Solrock pulled its weight. I just think, you know, after playing this deck, I think there's just something missing about it. Like, obviously, damage mods, like, you know, Premium Power Pro would be something to consider. It's just, what do you court? That's the thing. You know, there's a lot of situations where you're going to be struggling to actually, like, get damage on the board. Because, obviously, you're doing 170, which, in fairness, 170 is a good number to be hitting right now. Because, you know, you two-shot pretty much anything in the format, bar Mega Venusaur. And obviously with Brave Bangles on, you know, 2 Okidogis back-to-back, that's pretty good, because that's 400 damage. You know, Moltres will obviously pull its weight in that matchup doing 250, and then obviously you can come in with Okidogi and hit for 170 and knock it out. But Yeah, I think personally I like this idea, but I don't think it's as good as the standard Okidogi box variants we're typically used to, with the likes of, Cornerstone, Clefairy, obviously Scizor back when Scizor was in format. But anyway, so what did I think to the deck? I don't think this is a bad deck at all. I think it's a pretty alright one. It's definitely better than Ceruledge post rotation, but well, that's not much of an achievement now, is it? But to be brutally honest, I think Okidogi, if it is going to go forward with, like, the way it is in the format right now, I think a box approach is just the safest option. So what I mean by a box approach is, well, in fact, actually a hybrid variant would actually be even better, because you can play the Barbaracle at a 2-2 line, well, like we've been doing. We could play 3 Okidogis, 1 or 2 Moltreses, a Lillie's Clefairy. We have a lot more options in that regard. There's not really many, like, cheap attackers you can power up with Okidogi. But, there's still quite a few you can obviously use. Obviously, Clefairy, as I said, there's the low kicks. You could play Ignition Energy in the list and obviously have grass coverage, which, albeit grass coverage isn't too relevant right now. But the main things you need to focus on is Psychic weakness, Fire weakness, and of course, Fighting weakness, which this deck does do very well. But I think to remain more relevant post-rotation, this needs to be more of a box approach. Still utilizing Prism, Legacy, and things like that, but having tech attackers like Clefairy, Moltres, like I said, the low kicks if Grass Weakness ever becomes relevant again, because it's not really too relevant. It's relevant against Zygarde, but you're not really worried about Zygarde. It's not really a meta deck. But, obviously Metal Weakness is another one that obviously is quite relevant right now, but there will probably never be a Metal type attacker that was as good as Obsidian Flame Scizor. There just won't be, I don't think, for one energy. It was just too good. But honestly, I think this deck's pretty fun, and I really think you should give it a try. But anyway, I'm going to leave you all to it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing Okidogi with Barbaracle, and I'll see you next time.